The Pound Gap of Pine Mountain is on the Virginia-Kentucky border between Jenkins, Kentucky and Pound, Virginia. It served as a passage for early settlers to cross into Kentucky from Virginia. Today, U.S. Route 23 passes through the gap. History. In 1750, early surveyors for the Ohio Company, possibly including Christopher Gist, passed through the gap. Many hunters used the gap to cross into Kentucky from Virginia for the next 10 years. In 1774, Daniel Boone used the gap to cross into Kentucky, along with Michael Stoner, to warn the land surveyors of a possible attack from the Shawnee Indians. Boone referred to Pound Gap as Sounding Gap. Circa 1800, some of the first pioneer families of eastern Kentucky came to Kentucky through Pound Gap. In Letcher County today are hundreds of the descendants of these pioneers. It was 7 families who first came here around 1798. The Adamses, the Webbs, the Cordales, the Crafts, the Hammonds, the Sturgills, and the Collinses, the Hoggs, Maggots, Wrights, Fraziers, Fieldses, Bates, Halls, Bentleys, and Hamptons followed closely after the first settlement. In 1834, the General Assembly of Kentucky passed an act to improve the road from Mount Sterling to Pound Gap to make travel to western Virginia more accessible. The route was widely used to drive livestock into Virginia and other southern markets and was shorter than other routes. The Mount Sterling, Pound Gap Road was considered the longest pre-Civil War state road. The route roughly follows modern-day KY-11 from Mount Sterling to Clay City, then KY-15 from Clay City to Whitesburg, and finally US-119 from Whitesburg along the Kentucky River to its headwaters in Pound Gap. In 1861, the Confederate States Army Regiment under the command of Colonel John S. Williams took control of the gap. On March 16, 1862, 800 Union soldiers from the 42nd Ohio Infantry, under the command of Brigadier General James A. Garfield, came from Piketon in the Battle of Pound Gap, forcing the 500 Confederate soldiers after the deadly battle to retreat. General Garfield was the youngest general of the war and gained fame from the Battle of Pound Gap. On May 14, 1892, Dr. M. B. Taylor, a.k.a. the Red Fox, and 2 Confederates, Hennon and Cal Fleming, ambushed Ira Mullins, a local moonshiner, and his family. The ambush killed 5 out of 7 people who were in the caravan at a rock near Pound Gap, now called Killing Rock. Dr. Taylor was hanged at the Wise County Courthouse on October 27, 1893 for the murders. The Red Fox Trail and Killing Rock is now a hiking trail in the Jefferson National Forest. Geological features. The Pound Gap mountain pass is known as a wind gap, as streams no longer flow through it. During the construction of the new section of US 23 in 1998, the Pine Mountain Pound Gap thrust fault was exposed. The collision of the North American continent with Africa and Europe more than 275 million years ago formed the Appalachian Mountains and the thrust fault at Pound Gap. Geologists consider the exposed rock to be one of the most remarkable exposures of rock in the entire eastern United States. On September 26, 1998, Pound Gap was declared Kentucky's first distinguished geologic site by the Kentucky Society of Professional Geologists.